All right, there's nothing like being in the green room. It's my favorite place to be, although I know there's no green. I get it, no worries about that. But for those folks that want to eavesdrop on the conversation, I'm here with the one and only Johanna. Now, I'm not going to read this long bio because one, it gets boring, and secondly, we'd be here for a couple episodes. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask Johanna, if she'll take a few minutes to tell us a little about who is Johanna, but more importantly, what are you up to these days? We want to know.
Who am I? That's kind of a charged question. As a yogi, I could answer that in a lot of different ways. But if by who am I, you want to know what I've been up to, it means that first of all, I'm a life changer. I am a person who helps other people integrate new ideas into their lives in order to be able to upgrade their existence and rise to the next level. So my latest project has been adding a yoga school to my business. It's called Beyond Asana Yoga. And I just finished leading a 200-hour teacher training. So we have 4 new yoga teachers in this world. And our main goal is to bring the philosophy of yoga back to the practice. Too recent in
The
yoga,
green room.
we
This is my
have changed.
favorite place to be. Uh-oh, sorry. There's no green. I get it. No.
Teacher
Sorry
training.
about that. I had my thing on. I'm not perfect. Sorry.
No, that's all right. Hey, but too often in life, do we just not follow our path? So it's important to start honing in into the things that help us grow. So and yoga is about a philosophy that's thousands of years old that just helps us deal with our mindset really more than anything. So yeah.
I know we're going to get into mindset. We're going to get into yoga. Take a moment if you can. Let's just address the elephant in the room. This is a pandemic going on, as you know, and everyone knows it's the worst pandemic in 100 years. Um, and there are a lot of folks out there that are stressed. There's a lot going on. Take a moment and share what's the conversation that you and your colleagues have been having behind the scenes to encourage and to inspire other folks.
More than anything, that we need to keep in the forefront of our minds the things that we can control. Right now, we may be in the time in our lives, other than our youth, obviously, when our parents controlled everything that we did, right? It has been a point where we are consistently wondering what's going to happen next. And looking at it from a yoga perspective, what that does is it lowers our vibration. So we have something called chakras, and we have 7 of them. There's 3 of them that are more animalistic. Then there's our heart chakra, which is what divides the animalistic part of us from the divine part of us, which is our truth, our intuition, and our connection to source. And when people run based on fear and act based on self-preservation and fight or flight, our energy drops, and it puts us in a space where it's a lot harder for us to see the way out. So what we're encouraging each other to do more than anything is to focus on the things that we can control and on helping each other out, because this is a time for us to realize that we are one. We really are one race, one humanity, and unless we work together, things may become a little grimmer than they already are. And then the second conversation has been about investing, about diversifying investments. A lot of my colleagues invest in metals, not so much the stock market. If you have the resources to pay off real estate, doing that, or pulling money out of the market and into metals, especially gold. But that's a whole nother conversation, right? But that's what's going on behind the scenes, right? Diversifying our investments and focusing on the things that we can control.
Well, I'm excited for Beverly that's out there watching right now. Calvin, thanks for tuning in. Cheryl, it is always a pleasure. You're at the right place at the right time. We're behind the scenes, but I'm going to ask you one question. Then we're going to get to this whole mindset, controlling where you are, being able to raise your beliefs. And the one question I know is on all your minds, so let's just let her get it out the way right now, which is, why does she do what she do, right? She could be doing a whole lot of things, but why is this most important to her to help people raise their beliefs in themselves, control their mind so they can get what they want out of their life? What's your big why?
Oh, because we need to raise the vibration of humanity. I mean, we are creators. We are divine beings of creation. We are here to act and to experience. And if we are holding ourselves back based on fear, we are unable to express ourselves in that way. So my biggest drive in life is to help people find ways for them to be able to express their authentic selves. Like that is the biggest gift that we are here to share, not only for ourselves but for each other. It's how do I find my gift and how do I serve others and share with others, because alone I can go far, but together, or I can go fast, but together I can go far, right? Because I only have one mind and one source of ideas. When I combine that with somebody else, it's so much truth that two heads think better than one, because your perspective will give me a different perspective. And once I can open my mind to that, then the solutions can multiply. And that's really what we're learning right now. If we want to move forward, we need to think outside the box.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Love it. I can't wait. We're having a topic, our minds and how to manage our thoughts and really develop our ideas. I know it sounds like it's unreal. I know it sounds like an oxymoron. When we come back, we're going to ask her, how do you really even manage your thoughts? With that being said, I want to say hello once again to Steve. What's going on, Steve? What's up, Patterson? Thanks for joining. Look, we got a show. We'll be getting ready, started in 5. Look, she's waving at you. 4, all the way from San Diego. 3, 2, 1. We got to get going. We got a show. Promise I made to my mom. I only did this message for one person, and that's my mom. This is for you, Mom. Love you. My name is Shay Brown, the happy entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Shay Brown.
Mic check, mic check.
All I do is win, no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up.
Yes. Yeah.
And they stay there, and they stay there, and they stay there. Cause all I do is win.
Well, it's a great day. My name is Shay Brown, the happy entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the #1 business development and revenue focused late night show in the country, where we're on a mission. And our mission is to empower. Our mission is to inspire. And our mission really is to provide you, that's right, you, the entrepreneur, with all of the resources that are necessary to execute, well, that big vision that you have for the people you were called to serve. And I believe you have 3 visions, by the way. I really do. First, you have a vision for yourself. You know, the clothes you want to wear, the organic food that you can't wait to eat, I'm sure, the home you want to live in, and it takes resources, which means it takes revenue. And then I believe you have a second vision. You have a vision for the ones you love the most. I'm blessed that Mother Dear is still on this planet. We celebrated her birthday, her 73rd birthday, just 2 weeks ago. And many of you are like me with Mother Dear. You want to be able to let them order things, especially during this time, right, on their own. It takes resources. Or you have kids and you want to make sure that you can send them to a school of their choice. Or maybe you just want to write a check for those causes that you believe in the most. And it takes revenue. That means, I know, it takes resources. And last, I believe you have a vision for the people you were called to serve. And I want to imagine for a moment that you're Noah. And you don't have to be a believer, but I'm a believer, but there's Noah in the Bible. And imagine that Noah shows up. He's got everything. He's like you. He's ready to go. And right before Noah goes, there's a knock at the door. What's going on? Excuse me, Noah, over here. Can you see me, Noah? Over here, right? No, here. Yeah, Noah, there are no hammers in the house, Noah. No hammers. Okay, no big deal. We don't panic. There's no hammers. Who would care if there's no hammer? What's up? Noah, here. Yeah, right here. Yeah, you. What's up? Noah, there's no nails. I might as well tell you that now before you figure it out. Got it. No hammer, no nails. Rule number 1, don't panic. Right? We don't panic. What is going on around here? What's up? Noah, over here. There's no wood and there's no people to put the boat together. Good luck on this vision. And maybe that's you. Your mind is scattered right now. You got to pull it all together. You got to manage your thoughts. And this morning, this evening, this afternoon, no matter what time it is for you in the world, the one and only Johanna is here to help you do that. What's up, Johanna from San Diego?
Thank you for having me, and thanks for your audience. I'm happy to share any little bits of nuggets of knowledge that I can pass on. This is amazing. Thank you.
Well, it is an honor and a pleasure, a treat and a treasure. So thank you so much for being here. Now, look, let's get into managing your thoughts. And just recently, we had someone that called in during this pandemic, and they said, look, now I work from home full time. And she said, I'm also a full-time wife. I'm also a full-time mom. I'm now a full-time school teacher because I got 2 kids, one in elementary school, one in middle school. I'm also a full-time administrator. And oh, by the way, I'm a full-time cafeteria worker. And who signed up for this? And I want to get my business off the ground. So there's a lot going on. I don't want to just say because she's a woman. That's not what I'm saying. It could be a guy. It could be anyone out there that's right now that has so much going on. Why this topic? Why now?
Oh, wow. It's more important than ever right now because when your mind is that scattered, you can't do anything, right? So, and my best friend and I have this conversation all the time. People think that they can multitask, and they convince themselves that they can multitask, and they try to do so many things at once that they can't accomplish anything. Because even if you have 25 projects, you cannot do your homework or help your kids do their homework, cook the meal, and clean the house all at the same time. So when you organize yourself and when you focus your mind, you can start to find time for each one of your tasks. But you have to look at everything and break it down. You just look at everything that you have to do in a totality, and you just think, this is my time, these are my tasks, and you don't separate that, it's almost impossible for you to figure out how to put those things together. So the first thing is this: break down, how much time do you have? How many tasks do you have? And what do I need to do to be able to complete each one of them? And the answer may be, I need 28 hours and my day is 12. But then at least you have something to start with. Because if you just have tasks and you just have time, nothing will get done because you can't organize. So it's organizing your time, it's prioritizing, and in terms of you including your own business that you want to start, is going from the end and working your way backwards until what little steps can I do today, and how do I schedule those things that I can start doing today into my time? Because if it's important, you need to schedule it. And that includes if you want to eat healthy, that includes if you want to get up for 5 minutes every hour so that you can move around a little bit, because I know that working from home probably means that you're also getting less steps in and you're not going to the gym. So it's important then to give yourself those times. So one thing that we do in this house is we get up and we walk a mile, a minimum of a mile before you start your day. That revs your metabolism in more ways than one. And this isn't a nutrition talk, but it helps you get started. You drink water before you do anything else. So you're already starting your day moving and hydrated. And by the fact that you're moving means that your metabolism is going. So you're also starting to burn energy versus you getting up, grabbing a cup of coffee and sitting down, which automatically means you're giving your body energy without having spent any to begin with. So it's just start with little things at a time and really schedule that. Like that, I can't say that enough. Schedule everything and like by the minute. Like if you think it's going to take you 7 minutes to do something, don't jip yourself and say 5, and don't give yourself extra time and say 10. Say literally 7 minutes. That's how long it'll take me. And schedule things down to a T.
Yeah. You know, as you're working with entrepreneurs and you're working with everyday folks that get up every single day, they pay their taxes, they take care of their family, they work hard to be productive citizens. What is one of the biggest challenges that you see that they have? I'm going to pick one of the areas, and this is say health first, really taking care of themselves. Like, what do you see that's kind of holding them back? Although they may have heard about it, my question is, why do you think they're just not doing it? What's one of the challenges actually implementing what they know?
Well, right now, what I'm seeing the most is stress eating. Mm-hmm. Right now, a lot of people it's because there's so much going on here, they need to keep themselves busy. So eating is one of the ways. Drinking, I mean, alcohol consumption has gone up significantly. I live right by a burger joint, and I'm telling you right now, I have never seen that place as slammed as it is right now. So people are trying to get out, and they want comfort food, and they're eating just because they want something to do that's not. They're consuming a lot of television, which also isn't healthy, and putting them in the right mindset. So it's health in more ways than one. And I think, again, when we're looking at everything that we can't control, we get overwhelmed. But if we can start focusing on the things that we can control, that's you. That's it. Nothing else. Especially if you have that many, I don't know if my kid's going to go back to school. I don't know if my office is ever going to open up. You can't control that. But what you can control is what you put in your mouth. What you can control is what you're feeding your brain. What you can control is what you're feeding your children, how you're organizing your time, and what you are showing them in terms of how you are handling the situation. Because one of the issues that I see with this is the trauma that this has the potential to cause kids that are in those very, very crucial ages to their development, anywhere from 1 to 7 years old. I mean, we establish our view of the world based on those years of our lives. So how you handled this situation also impacts how they will see the situation and how they will be able to move from it.
You know, for those folks that are listening right now, they're like, wow, this is right on. This is spot on. And they might be curious, what's a little bit of her backstory, Shay? I'm meeting her for the very first time. She's making sense and sense. She's helping y'all make sense, and for your entrepreneurs, make sense. And that's pretty cool. But they might be wondering, like, give us a little bit of your backstory. Like, how did you find yourself here? Do you mind taking a few minutes? And I know we didn't say that, but they're curious. Kristen's out there. What's up, Kristen? Edith Hall says she's in the house. Doran Branch is out there. Like, whoa, this is a great topic. But they're like, who in the LL Cool J is this person that's talking? So why don't you take a few minutes? We'll slow down for a second and we'll speed up. Tell me a little about your backstory. How did you find yourself here for doing what you're doing now?
But I won't go too far back, but I've been an entrepreneur as long as I can remember. I started my first business in 4th grade selling candy. My father used to take me to a local wholesaler to get it, and he showed me an accounting system and an inventory system. And when my parents got divorced, my mother moved to Illinois. My father remained in Puerto Rico, and they had shared custody. That meant that I spent half of the year in Illinois and half the year in Puerto Rico. And I grew up with two parents who had very different views of the world. My father was an entrepreneur, self-starter. Every business he's ever had, he owned, and he started from nothing. My mother is a PhD in chemistry. She was a professor, worked for Abbott Labs, and had a very serious job. She would always tell me I needed to go to school. My dad would always tell me I can accomplish anything I want. So having the combination of going to school and getting an MBA and having that background, but then deciding with my MBA, I will not go work for somebody else. I will work for myself. They always encouraged me to just think outside the box. And they gave me a lot of freedom in the sense that whenever I would come up with crazy ideas, instead of them shutting them down, they'd be like, all right, what can you do with that? And they would actually allow me to explore things, which never made me feel like I was too young or too small or not good enough or not smart enough. It just made me realize sometimes I needed certain things, like I may have needed to learn something, or I may have needed to have resources for something else. But the fact that they opened the door to me being able to explore my creativity and start businesses at such a young age and support it 100% every time, that to me was the biggest thing, because their support helped me feel like I couldn't lose. And now as an adult, that teaching is what stuck with me, is that feeling of it doesn't matter, I can't lose. So those were, and again, that's just a teaching, right? That just comes from the ground up. And so once I got my MBA, so before I got my MBA, I owned a racing cars. So I taught people how to drive fast cars. And then I decided that if I wanted to grow the business, I needed more business sense. So I went to North Carolina and I got an MBA. And in 2008, when I graduated, the economy was crap and there was no way that I could start my business back up. But one thing that I did realize, just like now, was that people were putting their health aside. And when you put your health aside, when you stop moving around, when you stop eating healthy, one of the main things that gets affected is your endorphins. It's your brain. It's your ability to produce those beautiful chemicals that make you happy every day and that make you accept things and that make you want to move forward. And so when I got out of there, I was like, what do I do? How do I take this knowledge? And I started a fitness company. And within a few years, I learned that most people that had issues with their bodies had underlying things that got them there, which is why I'm saying right now that the overeating and the stress eating is such an issue, because the 15 pounds that people are gaining, that's not an issue. The issue is what's happening to get those 15 pounds on people's bodies. They're stress eating because they're so when you just look at the symptom, right? What do doctors do? They look at your symptom, they give you some pill, but you come back because they didn't treat your root cause. So what I decided was that I needed to look at something deeper. So then I just started educating myself. I learned more about diet and I learned more about coaching people and mindset. And that's when yoga became a big part of my life. In 2011, I became certified to be a yoga teacher because I saw how much people could benefit from understanding themselves better and being connected to themselves better. You know, problems don't go away. And right now, even I'm going through stuff, but it's how you react to them that will determine whether or not you can successfully move forward from them.
Wow.
Where we are.
Wow, I mean, that's like super powerful, and I appreciate you first being authentic and sharing that message with us. And Tiana, who's out there, she says, checking in from Milwaukee, is listening and certainly is being impacted by the courage that you have to pursue your dreams and pursue your passion, even when some folks say it's not even possible. So really, really cool. As you're doing that, the question is kind of, in my mind, is how to manage your thoughts. Take a moment and maybe share one or maybe two ideas that someone can do to kind of manage their thoughts. That we're talking to ourselves all the time, but we've got to manage our thoughts so we can have those creative ideas. So Shay, what's the question? The question is give us one or two ideas that we can do to manage our thoughts.
So I'll share with you two. Mm-hmm. So one isn't mine, it's Mel Robbins. And her theory is when the trail of thought that you are attempting to get your brain out of, right? Because what is that rabbit mind? What creates that hamster wheel? What happens is this: when you start thinking these thoughts over and over, your brain starts creating these patterns of firing. So let's say that you're starting to get up every morning and starting with the trail of thought of like, oh my God, I don't know what's going on. How do I move forward from here? And you spend most of your day in that. You are now establishing a pattern in your brain of how it reacts every morning when it gets up. It starts this pattern. We are beings of patterns. And so that's why the schedules are so important. So the first one is when that train thought starts, you say stop. You say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you place the thought that you want to be thinking about. So what's the important thing about that? What do you want to think about? Right? What do you want to focus on? Because once again, this will all shift you from looking at the problems to looking at solutions. So just figuring out what is that thought that I want to put in there is going to start me thinking in the right direction. Once I have that thought and I can implement that stop 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, then you can start implementing consistently going back to that thought. And at the beginning, you're going to catch yourself all the time. And then slowly, it's just going to start being less and less. The second one is
number one is we have to shift our thoughts. For those folks that are out there, and I'm sure Johanna's okay with this, go ahead right now and hit the share button. Hit the watch party button. We believe in the giver's economy. The person outgives the competition, out-earns the competition. The person outgives the competition, well, they out-earn the competition. So take a moment, hit the share button, hit the watch party button, and when you hit that button, there's a little box that pops up. Just go ahead and write control your thoughts. Hashtag Johanna. You might not be able to spell the last name, so I'll say hashtag Johanna. Just put control your thoughts. And isn't that the starting point? Isn't that where it all begins? So hit the watch party button, hit the share button, pay this message forward for everyone that's out there, because this is your moment. This is your time. And it might sound pretty simple and easy, but it's powerful. All right, so they got step number one. They got to control our thoughts. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, I'm back here with you. Now.
Yeah. And if you want more of that, Mel Robbins is her name.
Oh, I love Mel Robbins, the 5-second rule. Great book. So give us number two. For those folks that are out there, look right below the video. What's up, Miranda Gilmore? Look right below the video and write these words. Control your thoughts. Okay, give us step number 2. We're here. We're all ears. We're ready.
So number 2 is keep a list of those things. Because if they're coming up over and over and over again, it's for a reason. So start to actually reflect. So in yoga, we call that shadow work. Shadow work is exploring our fears and exploring our issues deeply so that we can move past them and forgive. So that's the second one, is write things down and start reflecting deeply, like not just superficially, but deeply, like reflecting on, is this coming from something that has happened before? Am I repeating a pattern? Anything that comes up, right? And it'll be very individual for each person, what it is that keeps triggering these things. But unless you start looking at the triggers and looking at the patterns, it'll be hard for you to change. So we are beings of habit. So once we create that habit of negative thinking and the same hamster wheel over and over, it becomes just like breaking any addiction. Like you literally become addicted to the patterns of your thoughts. And that victimhood and that victim mind, you literally become an addict of that too. Even arguing. So do you know that you get a shot of adrenaline? Like when you prove someone wrong and you beat someone down to like submitting to saying that you're right, like that actually causes a reaction. So those people that love to argue, like they're literally getting a high from their arguing. So they're always going to be like that. You can't change them. So it's just understanding patterns, understanding and being aware. But that takes stepping back. Right? Because if I'm consistently in the thoughts, like how do I step away and become aware and look at them? Like that's just hard. So it's just choosing to take that step back and understanding that you are not your thoughts. You are not your body. You are not your situation. You are not your bank account. You are not your failures. You are not your mistakes. You are not your victories. You are none of that. You are whatever's in here watching this human being have all these experiences and learning from it. But that seer, that watcher from inside has never changed. It's just watching you get old. It's watching you learn. It's watching you make mistakes. It laughs at you when you fall on the same rock and trip up, making the same mistakes over and over. And it just watches. It's our conversations that cause the issues because we are the ones having the conversations with ourselves. So there will never be any end to any of that unless we find a way to shift that conversation. So Mel Robbins is one way, writing it down is another way, and understanding that you have the power, even when there's nothing under your control, to still focus on doing something. And that something can be writing, which doesn't cost a thing. It could be coloring. It could be calling people and making sure that people are okay. It could be going to a neighborhood and making sure that if anything, again, this is very individual for each person, but anything that keeps your mind on something positive and on something that is moving you towards your goal, because that is what success means. We are very mistaken with our definition of success in this country. If you think someone's successful because they're driving the fancy car and they're living the fancy house, you are so mistaken, because success is anyone successfully moving in the direction of something that they are intending to do. That is success. Every day that they make a step forward, that is success. Someone that has millions of dollars and is depressed and drinking every night because they don't spend any time with their family and all they have is a bank account full of money, that's not success. Not in the true definition of success.
Wow. Very, very powerful. As you're saying that, there's two questions kind of came up. And number one, you mentioned triggers, and folks might want to know, what is a trigger? You say, hey, something triggers something to kind of take place. And they might want a point of clarification on triggers and why that's important and why you brought that up. So if you can put that into context, I think that's going to help even strengthen what you've already said. So the question, ladies and gentlemen, is to use the word triggers. Number one, what are triggers? Number two, why are they important? And why was it introduced to the conversation?
Okay, so my trigger, at least when I was younger, is someone cut me off when I was driving. That was to me like sin. I mean, you what did you just do? And that I would get so angry, and of course I was a race car driver, guys. So put this under context, right? Here's an 18-year-old that spends her time going 140 miles an hour on a racetrack, and some person cut them off. So in my head, I'm like, oh, you don't know who you're doing. That's a trigger. Now as an adult, I just hit the brakes and back off, and my mind doesn't go there anymore. But 20 years ago, if someone were to have done that, that's where I would have gone. That's a trigger. And I moved past that reaction by becoming aware of, oh, maybe that person has no idea that they just cut me off. Maybe that person needs to get in the left lane to turn, and if they don't cut me off, then they're not going to make this light. They need to make the next light. Maybe they didn't see me, right? And guess what? When you get mad, I was the only one getting mad. I was the only one feeling it. I was the only one changing my own vibration and changing my own mood. When I became aware of that, I was like, why am I giving my power and my energy to this person who has no idea that I'm having this reaction to begin with? So the trigger is what causes that shift that brings you either back to the train of thought or takes you down a train of thought that you don't really want to go down, you're attempting to move past or move from. So those are triggers, and they're important to recognize because oftentimes they manifest themselves in more places than one. So you can start noticing, like, am I triggered when people say that I'm wrong? Or am I triggered when I feel like I'm not being heard? Am I triggered when I feel like my race is being attacked? Am I triggered when I feel someone is saying something about my family? Like there will be patterns. And once you become aware of them, it's the only way that you can break those patterns, right? Because if we don't really know that there's something going on. So it's that awareness is key to be able to, again, find those triggers or those things that lead you to react in certain ways. Because the only thing that you can control is your reaction. That's it. Nothing else. That person cutting you off, I couldn't control that. But my reaction to getting mad to them doing that, I can totally control that. So even if it takes practice, right? Because a couple of times you catch yourself, man, I got mad again. Oh, there you go, getting mad again. You idiot, you haven't learned the lesson yet. Come on, wake up. You don't need to get mad about that, right? So you got to catch yourself a few times, because if you've been getting mad for a really long time, that's your pattern. And to break that pattern, it takes you, oh, dummy, don't get mad again, right? It gets you, okay, and then out of nowhere, you're like, oh, look at that person cut you off and you didn't even get mad. Look at you growing up and getting all elevated into the next level. And that's how we find our growth, you know. And the reason why I mentioned that is because we also celebrate our victories. Celebrate your freaking victories. Don't just move from what I did it. Okay, now next thing. No. Take your time. Breathe. I did that. That was awesome. That was me growing up and not reacting and starting to take care of my emotions. Look at me. Awesome. And that'll make you have a better day too. So it's just celebrating the victories is one of the things that I teach my clients the most. We break down goals from the biggest thing that can happen to the steps that lead to today, so that in every single one of those steps, as you're moving towards your goal, you can find your celebrations and you can find short victories, because we have victories every single day. That mom that managed to just finish a whole semester teaching 2 kids and becoming a teacher while learning how to work from home and still being a full-time wife, that's a freaking victory. So unless you sit back and celebrate it, you can still see it as an issue, but you can also still see it as something that you're overcoming. So it's still a choice. Am I going to react as if it's a problem, or am I going to react as if it's something that I'm having a really amazing time learning how to overcome?
Man, I'm loving it, man. I love it. I love it. I love it. This stuff is like, I could eat this for vitamins in the morning. You know, it just gets me geared up. You're like, yes, you can change your thoughts. You can change your mind. I mean, thoughts are things, and things can be changed. Isn't that the cool thing? And only you can control that. You know, one of the core mantras we have here at the Happy Entrepreneur Show, it's one of our core values. And one of our core values is, today is my January 1st. In fact, if you're out there right now, you know what segment I'm about to do. You can look below the video right now. You can write those words. Today is what? My January 1st. And for those folks that want to know what it means, today is my January 1st represents one of those moments. And there's probably 1,000+ moments throughout the day where you get to make a decision. I think that comes from the thoughts in your mind, by the way. You get to make a decision, and that decision can forever change the trajectory of your life. You make a decision during this time that you're going to work out. You got time. Or you're going to sit back and you're going to binge watch. Good thing to do. Or you make a decision that you're going to eat hamburgers, French fries, salt, pepper, ketchup. Some of you got to have some hot sauce on the ketchup. I understand that. Or you decide you're going to go to the refrigerator. You're going to open it up. And inside that refrigerator, there's some kale. I know that sounds good. There's some Brussels sprouts. It gets better. Don't worry. And there's some broccoli. That's a decision. So today is my January 1st. And write that right below the video. Today is my January 1st. It represents a do-over, a fresh start. My past doesn't equal my future. So my question to the one and only Johanna is, when you hear those words, today is my January 1st, what does it mean to you? What goes through your mind?
What comes to my mind are prisoners. So I do a lot of work with individuals that either are still incarcerated or are in halfway houses coming out of the prison system, and they come to my mind because one of the things that I help them understand is that you are not your story. You are not a victim of your story, and you are not the person that you were that made those decisions back then. The fact of the matter is, if you today choose to repent and you today choose to live your life in a different way, you don't need to listen to one person judging you for the things that you have done. You are a different person, and you're the only one that needs to know that. So what comes to my mind is forgiveness. Because a lot of times it takes us forgiving ourselves for not so much mistakes that we've made, but maybe when things don't turn out the way we want them to and our expectations, and we bust our bubble, right? Just forgiving ourselves for all of it, because it doesn't matter, because it's part of life, because that's why we're here. We're here to mess up so that we can learn, so that we can evolve, or choose not to learn and then keep going through the same stuff over and over till we learn. Because I mean, the mistake is going to repeat itself whether you like it or not. It's up to you to change that course by learning and implementing whatever you're learning from it.
I love it. What was your January 1st moment where you decided you were going to be an entrepreneur? There were so many along your journey when you was in the 4th grade and all the way through life, and you decided, I'm going to plant my flag right now. I'm going to draw a line in the sand, and I'm going to do this yoga thing, right? There is no plan B. There is no turnaround. It's full steam ahead. What was the turning point? What was that defining moment that you said, you know what? I'm that guy. I'm going to do this thing.
I've always known. I mean, the only times I've ever worked for other people was when I found myself in between businesses, or building something that I knew I needed capital for. So to create the capital for it. I mean, I'll be honest, I even used some of the money that I spent or got as loans for my MBA to start a business. Like it, because in my mind, there was never really another way. Like even today, even to this day, like my mom doesn't watch any of this, by the way. My mom has no idea like that I do all these things and that I help people like this. She has no clue. She still tells me, she's like, I don't know what you do. You need to go find yourself a job, because she thinks that I don't do anything. Like she has no, she's like, you just don't work. You just don't do anything. Like you need to. And I'm like, Mom, seriously, I help people a lot. But it's hard for her to understand, because she's been so conditioned to this reality where if you don't have a job, you don't have security, and you won't have financial stability, and you won't have. So I've always known that I have a path of my own, and that following somebody else's will never be the way that I grow. And I'll tell you, a lot of this realization comes from just following my intuition. A lot of us get that not in our stomach when we're making a decision, and we don't friggin' listen. And when we don't listen, what happens after? Oh man, I think I thought that may not have worked in the future. Well, of course, you knew from the beginning it wasn't going to work. You got the gut feeling and you didn't listen to it. So it's really important to kind of follow our intuition. Like I started a really amazing business and it didn't work out because I followed my intuition. I found out that he was doing things that could have landed us in jail. And what I did was pull away and get a lawyer, protect myself, because I could have ignored what I saw and been like, no, there's no way he's really doing that. Because the potential, it was $1 million business, $1 billion business in my eyes, but it was a huge business, but the integrity level wasn't there. So there's also choices that we have to make every day in terms of, do we want to raise ourselves to a higher vibration, or are we going to do this just based on a material world? Because in that sense also, then decisions get a little cloudy. And the way that you will know which way you went is by where your brain goes. Because if when you make that decision, you start having these thoughts of, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe I should have done somebody else. Oh my God, I did this to this person. If there's any kind of train of thought like that, then your choice was questionable. When you make a choice that's a good choice, and it's a choice made from a respectable place, then your mind can only see the potentials of the choice that you make. It's not going to go back wondering other things. So it's just always wanting to move forward. And even if that means that sometimes we need to take a step back and look at where we are. I had a conversation with my mentor today, and another person that he mentors, he made her create a budget to look at how much money she needed every month. It was like $8,000. And to be honest with you, the way that she lives, she doesn't have to be in that space. So, but she didn't even have a clue because she never sat down and looked at it. So she needed to take a step back to be able to look at everything, to be able to say, this is the situation that I am in. Realistically, this is the situation that I am in. Because unless we can also look at things from the truth, from the real point of view, not from, I think I may be able to, or maybe things are like this. No. Looking back and being realistic with yourself. Because that's the only way that we find our truth also. So, yeah, there's a lot of...
I love that. That's amazing. I love it. How, as folks are listening right there, you probably heard this phrase before, and it's so important. And sometimes there's truth inside of truisms, right? There's truth inside of truisms. And the phrase is, consistency is the key. Consistency is the key. Consistency is the key. And having said that, what do people struggle with every single day? They struggle with consistency. And they're excited now when they said, today is my January 1st, just like they were back on December 31st after a couple of drinks on the back of a napkin. They started writing down their New Year's resolutions, and they were excited. And we know how that landed. So I guess my question to you is, what do you tell your clients? What do you teach them in order for them to be consistent and hashtag stay the course?
Forgiveness. Back to forgiveness.
Okay.
So when we deal with addicts, it's 24 days at a time. Like you look, or 24 hours at a time, excuse me. You don't look at the whole month. You don't look at the whole week. You look at 24 hours at a time. And if you make a mistake, you start the next 24 hours. And the past 24 hours are done. They're over. You don't hold on to that mistake. Most of us mess up one day. It's over. It's done. We can't do this anymore. And that's where we lose the consistency. Consistency doesn't mean that you're not going to wake up one day and say, you know what? I'm not doing it today. I am freaking lying down. I am watching documentaries about how our food is grown all day. And then tomorrow I'm going to get back into it. And then tomorrow being okay with the fact that you made that decision the day before and continuing your day. Because we also then say that if we take a break or anything, then we're doing something wrong. And taking time for ourselves and also having those breaks and that rest and that sitting back and reflecting on what you're working on, that's actually crucial to the things that you're building. So look at it 24 hours at a time. And break things up into small goals. Look at the end, biggest goal you can achieve, and then start going backward. To do this, I need this. To do this, I need this. To do this, I need this. And keep breaking it down until what you can do today. Celebrate your victories, and then keep that end in mind, but know that if today you have a bad day, that's just one day. That doesn't undermine the days before that you worked hard, and it doesn't undermine the days that you will work forward. That's just a choice if you decide to continue not like slacking, if you want to call it that. And also be realistic with yourself. Like if that example that you gave earlier, if you were that mother that is now working from home, being a full-time teacher with 2 kids and being a full-time wife, and you want to start a new job or you want to start a new career, don't say today I'm going to start putting 5 hours a day into this business, because you're setting yourself up to fail. You don't have those 5 hours, but maybe you have 15 minutes, and maybe those 15 minutes can grow into 20 minutes or 25 minutes. Or you ask your husband that on Sundays, now it's your day. And in that day, you spend half of the day taking care of yourself and the other half working on your own personal business, which is also taking care of yourself because it fills you up. And if it doesn't fill you up, question whether that's really a business that you should be getting into.
I'm loving it, man. I'm smelling what you're cooking in the kitchen over here, okay? I'm picking up what you're putting down. That's what we're doing over here. This is some good stuff. For those folks that are out there, you listen right now, hit the share button. Hit the watch party button and just write these words. You can do this. That's all you got to do. Just put, you can do this. And she said, your past doesn't equal your future. Powerful. Folks are probably wondering, what type of clients does Johanna work with? Like, is they're listening to you? Who's our ideal client, number one? And number two, how can they connect with you? And as you tell them that, they might be thinking, well, I'm a good fit. Or they might say, I know someone that's a good way to refer to you. So number one, what type of clients do you work with, your ideal client? And number two, how can they best connect with you?
I have 3 types of clients. One tends to be individuals that are either about to retire or have gotten as far as they want to get in their company and are thinking about moving into a different business or creating a business and have no idea where to go from there. People that are having that quote unquote midlife crisis where they realize, oh my God, I have a purpose and my life is more than what I've been doing and I'm 52 years old and where do I go from here? And the person that's ready to grow spiritually and to understand at a deeper level what this life is truly about. So those are my 3 types of clients, because the reason why I call myself a human success development coach is because the idea of success is individual to you. And because I am a success development coach, I take whatever your idea of success is and I help you build that. So I don't pretend to know what your idea of success is, and I don't judge what your idea of success is. I just help you figure out how to make it happen. And the yoga helps in all aspects of people's lives, but truly people that know that there's a little more than what they have been conditioned to believe. Like if you're starting to question that in any way, we can have some really amazing conversations. I'm all about enlightening people on the reality of our existence and the reality of the potential of humanity altogether. Like we are manifestors. Like we are all MBAs. We are manifestors when we believe and we act. So through our belief and through our action, we can manifest. It's just we don't understand how to focus enough. And instant gratification doesn't allow our mind's eye to remain on that goal long enough for the universe to conspire to help us. And then how they can contact me, 815-501-5070. Call me. That's the best way. If you want to find me on social media, Johana Godinez, or Beyond Asana Yoga is the name of my yoga school. And Life and Style Coaches is the name of my coaching company. But talk to me, call me. I love talking to people. It's what I spend most of my day doing, because this is what we are here for: to connect, to share our gifts, to inspire. And if there's anything that I can do to give someone an insight that's going to help them realize a bigger vision in their lives, that's more than what I'm here to do. So yeah, I'll tell you a funny story. Yesterday I went to the zoo to meet up a friend and her daughter and her daughter's friend, and I paid, I parked, and then I got a phone call from this woman that desperately needed to talk to me, who's found my phone number in one of these podcasts. And we talked for 2 hours and 45 minutes. And she just needed that. She just needed that. Telling me this, it's just.
I think your phone might have
Give me
went
one
down.
second.
No worries, no worries, no worries. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. You listen to the one and only. It says rule number 1, don't panic, don't panic. And rule number 2, her thoughts are pure. She's focused. She's in the present moment. Let me bring her back up. She's in the present moment. As you was rocking and rolling, as you was like, what? Is this real? I was talking to someone forever. And guess what happened, Shay? Don't worry about that. Rule number 1, don't panic. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See, I implemented it. Here we go, baby. Here's my question to you, if you can. It's a question I ask everyone, by the way. We're in the rapid fire segment. We're coming down the home stretch. But if all the ideas you've learned, and you've learned so many success principles, probably 10,000 plus during your lifetime, what's the one success principle, your one idea to be successful? Did you say, you know what? Shay, I could teach a seminar, but I'm going to give you one idea. What's the one idea that you would say is your number one idea in order to be successful in life?
Get ask in gear.
Get what now?
Get your ask in gear.
Tell us a little bit more about what you mean by that, please.
Ask, call people, ask them. If whatever you want, if there's someone that you know that you want to talk to, that you've ever thought, you know the person that you need to talk to make whatever you want happen. You already know them, or somebody that you know knows them. Like, I want to change the education system. Every time I come into a podcast like this, I talk about it. I want to change it, and I need people to invest in my ideas. If you have the money and you want to change the education system, come talk to me. I have ideas that will change this friggin' world. And one day someone's going to hear this and they're going to say, that girl has something to say and I want to listen to her. And we're going to have a conversation and something's going to come out of that that's going to change the education system. It's just keep putting it out there. Keep asking. I believe that Napoleon Hill is one of the best mentors that has lived. A lot of his ideas have helped shape my view of life and success. And in the book Outwitting the Devil, he talks about the importance of us upgrading the education system. And it doesn't happen with one person. It happens with a team. So how would you get a team together who would want to do something that you would want to do? You would have to ask them, right? So a mentor that you want, someone you look up to, who you wish would give you some ideas, call them, text them, email them. If you're sitting at your house because of COVID, so are they. They are there. They are accessible. Just reach out. And it may not happen in one phone call or two. You may have to contact a bunch of different people, but just ask.
I love it. Just ask.
And my mentor, Patrick Carney, taught me that.
See, you answered the second question. What's one idea you learned from your mentor? Just ask. Just ask. First, let me say thank you so much for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show. We appreciate it. You've got a heart to give. You got a heart to serve. I want to say a shout out to Sharon Parsons, who connected us during a time when people are holding on because they're like scarcity. She's operating from a place of abundance, baby, abundance. And she's connected you and I together, which just means so much. So we want to say thank you to her. What I like to do is turn over you to have your final thoughts, your final comments to inspire, to empower folks out there. We've got to have you back. I mean, we could be here all day and all evening, but what you speak resonates. And at the core of who we are is our thoughts. And I think you summed it up best when you first started and said, we're inside. We're just looking at what's going on the outside, but we're not what's happening on the outside. Very powerful. I'm walking away with that. But once again, thank you so much. For those folks that are out there, you can give a digital applause. You can give a digital applause. How do you give a digital applause? Well, you can hit the share button. You can hit the watch party button. You can play this into your private group. She's okay with that. She showed up. She didn't say, give me a Cash App payment, Shay. She didn't say, send me a credit card. She said, I'm here to serve. I'm here to add value. And boy, has she done that. And she can do it for your organization. Now, you might not get the deal I got, but still, she can do it. That's possible. So with that being said, thanks a lot. Turn over you to have your final thoughts, your final comments to inspire and empower folks that are listening. Again, thank you for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show.
The best thing that I can say is whenever questions arise in your mind, educate yourself and move forward with your ideas because there's a reason why they're in your head. And the way that you know that your ideas are going to help people is when you think of that. Do you think of how it will impact all those people? And can you see how that will transcend? So always have that final vision of how huge your idea can be. And as you're working towards it, don't lose that vision. Just don't let anything get in your way. And remember, failure is you just choosing not to try again. Even if you have officially decided that you failed, if tomorrow you wake up and you say, I'm giving it another try, it's no longer a failure. It was just one more step to get you closer to success.
I love it. With that being said, thank you all for watching. For those folks that are tuning in, make sure we stay connected. Hit the like button here on the page. Join us over at Online Champion Nation. It's where all the action is taking place. I want you to know, if you're listening, you're a winner. You're already a champ. The fact that you showed up says so much about you, and we appreciate that. And for you, the best is yet to come, because you can shift your mindset. You can change your mind, change your life. For you, the best is yet to come. She talked about yoga. You can connect with her. You can find your center right inside here. And for you, today is your January 1st. Why? Because as my father, Marshall Brown, used to say, who's no longer with us, passed away in May of 2017, he said, your future is spotless. We're going to create the future. With that being said, my name, for those folks who know who's doing all that yelling, all that screaming, my name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. And I promise you, from the bottom of my heart, we'll make some good things happen. We connect again next time. Remember, time is long. It really is. Life is very, very short. So we got to live in the moment, and we got to make it what? Count. With that being said, God bless. We wish you success. Hey, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. We're going to have to connect, especially when I'm in San Diego, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you. And again, give me a call, 815-501-5070. Would love to hear from you.
God bless. We out. Peace. Way bye. We're out. Peace. Y'all rock. We're gone. promise I made to my mom. I only did this message for one person, and that's my mom. This is for you, Mom. Love you. My name is Shay Brown, the happy entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right,
Check.
Shay Brown.
Mic check, mic check.
All I do is win, no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up.
Yes. Yeah.
And they stay there, and they stay there, and they stay there. Cause all I do is win.
Yeah.
Thank you. God bless.